Massa August 15th, Snoop Dogg September 5th, and Ron White October 17th. And get complete details on all of our upcoming shows on the concert page, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Gone. Did anything heat up with LeBron James? I mean, it's either looked at just a little bit of social media, or I couldn't get social media in places like Ketchikan and Icy Strait and Sitka and stuff like that. But is there taking my talents wherever? Is that expected to be soon? And is there any legitimate, like Johnny Athletic steam or anything that the Timberwolves have a chance?
Well, the Timberwolves sure are in it, but it's not likely. Mm-hmm. It's the massive.
So nothing really changed from the last time we chatted.
No, it's just having some fun with it on the air while you were gone. But no, in the end, it is the same. You know, he's holding the league hostage because
I saw the Adam Silver. You know, I can't release the schedule until LeBron. Yeah, that was unbelievable. He said that.
But I mean, in the end, you have to think about the TV deals and the big timers and big spots and whichever market he's going to go to. Mm-hmm. You know, each of these, whether it's Miami, Philly's probably got some primetime credit in the mix, but whether it's Miami, it's Cleveland, and certainly the Minnesota Timberwolves, despite having Ant, adding LeBron to that mix probably changes what kind of pedestal you're going to put them on. I did see, I think this was even earlier this morning, that the Miami Heat accidentally released either a YouTube or some social media post about an introductory presser for LeBron on July 27th. So that's caused a stir.
Really?
Yeah, somebody, I read it.
And it wasn't a faux site? It was really like their bit?
No, I think Shams had to comment on it. So yeah, it was actually the Miami Heat. So
wow.
And I think the Miami, somebody from the Heat was basically that they were just they were preparing and putting things together in case it does come to fruition. So, but in the end, no, we are exactly where we were when you started your whale watching expedition.
Joining us now is Mike Grimm, the longtime play-by-play voice for the Golden Gophers football team. We are at the Gibson-Nagurski complex in Minneapolis, right off Southeast 15th, and it's Golden Gophers football media day. And are you getting a picture taken today? I mean, you've
I don't need a picture. No.
I mean, you've shaved your head.
Yeah. I lost my hair.
You've trimmed your beard.
Yeah.
You have Golden Gophers colors on.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're all Sky U.
Here we are, ready to roll.
Does it feel like first day of school?
A little bit. I've this is about the time I am one of those guys that in the off season can decompress a little bit and just not think about it for a month, which I've done. And so now this is the time now to get back in it. Next week, Guardsy and I and Daryl will be in Chicago for Big Ten Media Day, and that really is
cool.
That's really the, no pun intended, kickoff to the whole thing. And fall camp starts a few days later, and then we're in the belly of the beast. And,
absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, exactly.
I've learned that over the years too. Help me with this before we chat about your squad. I believe a dear friend of mine who is the play-by-play voice for the Atlanta Falcons, Wes Durham.
Yes.
I believe he was in your house.
He was.
Within the last 2, 3, 4 months.
He showered in my basement.
I understand that. Now, and I was chatting with Wes a few weeks ago, and I'm like, let me get this straight. Mike was gracious enough to have the voices of the Big Ten over to his house for a party and a little get-together. Well, Wes he calls ACC games.
Yes.
So how did he finagle his way into that?
You know Wes.
Yeah, he's America's best friend.
He knows everything and everybody. He's one of my favorite people in the entire world. And
Love him.
And in this industry, I'm telling you, nobody knows more people than Wes does. Like if he weren't the radio broadcaster for the Falcons and doing stuff on ESPN, I think he'd be a great athletic director because he's so in tune with everything. If you need to know what's going on in college sports, he's the guy to talk to.
Right.
Great.
I still can't figure out how the voices of the Big Ten, Wes Durham, got into your kitchen.
So
he's not a voice of the Big Ten.
I guess I'd say he was grandfathered in because he knows everybody. So this little foray that we've taken, where it had been in May when I decided to host it this year in June in Minnesota. I'm like, we're not doing this in May because that could be for the year before. Dave Ennett, another dear friend, voice of the Wildcats of Northwestern, he got us into Chicago in May. Day one was about 42 degrees and no good. We golfed. That was day one. Day two was so cold that it was sleeting sideways, and we said we're not golfing. So we went to the Pancake House, had breakfast, and we all went home. So I said we're gonna hedge our bets and move it into. So we did it the first week of June. We had 14 guys from the Big Ten in to do 2 days of golf. But back when it started, I believe, just before COVID. It was
who started it?
So Don Fisher, the voice of Indiana, who just got to call the national championship at 75 years of age.
Oh, that's right.
50 years. Wow. Think about Don Fisher, 50 years removed from in his first or second season calling Quinn Buckner and Kent Benson's undefeated season in 1970. 50 years later.
Isaiah Thomas.
And then Isaiah Thomas after that. Steve Alford after that. He had 3 Big Ten.
Calbert
Cheney after that, the all-time, at the time, the all-time leading scorer. So he's 53 years into it. And 50 years apart, the undefeated Bob Knight season of 76 and the 2026 season of Indiana football. And think of all the bad football he got to call over the years in between that.
Right.
You know, I mean, they weren't any good for a long time. So he bided his time. So anyway, he's really good friends with Wes Durham. Wes Durham's dad was Woody Durham, the legendary voice of North Carolina. And in fact, Don Fisher won the first Woody Durham Award, which now is given annually to a college announcer who's done a lot in sports. So I think they got together for some golf in Orlando, and Don Fisher said, I think I want to invite some other guys. So I was lucky to be part of the, year 2, year 3, and then so we've been to Iowa twice, we've been to Indiana, we've been to Ohio State, Northwestern, and then we got to do it and host those guys this year. And we expanded. We went to a Twins game. Went to Mancini's for a night with nothing, and Wes loved the vibe of Mancini.
Well, he probably left with Johnny Mancini's number.
Exactly, no doubt about it.
See if he can invest. Whenever he comes to town.
They're coming to town. When do the Falcons come to town? In November, I think.
Right? Something like that. Yeah, so. Grimmer, the Ohio State football and basketball guy. Who is he?
Paul Keels.
Yeah,
Paul Keels. Hello.
Yeah, he's very deliberate, big booming voice.
Incredible.
But he has unique quirks to the way he calls games. And I haven't heard a lot of it, but when I do hear it, he's pretty well respected, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the tops in the country.
What's his name?
Paul Keels.
Yeah.
He was at Cincinnati before that. He's from Cincinnati. And he did the Bearcats when Bob Huggins, Huggy Bear, was coaching. He actually did a year of the Detroit Pistons when he first, I think he's a Xavier grad, and I think he did a year of the Detroit Pistons back when they had multiple stations or some weird deal way back. But Paul, we'll do highlights of games during the quarter break or something, and so it's like Ohio State's playing Texas. Ohio State won it thanks in part to this. It's a Paul Keels touchdown.
Yeah.
And I come back, okay, thanks, Paul.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
It's not exactly like that, but I know what you mean.
He's got a great voice, and he's an excellent play caller, and even better dude. Just a great guy. We'll go out to Columbus, and Spencer Tollickson, when he was doing basketball with me, took a real liking to Paul, so we would go out and have a nice meal before the night before any basketball game out in Columbus.
What season is this for you calling Gophers football?
All right, here Nordo and PA will let you guys guess. What year do you think I'm going into?
I would guess 21.
I'm going to guess, oh my goodness, 18?
So wait, J-Dub gets a guess.
Yeah.
24.
24. Oh, you think I'm old?
What do you mean? I'm going into my 25th, but I am old.
I don't want to sell you short. I feel like it's 16 or 17, and I went 18.
It depends. How did you phrase the question?
What year is this for you calling Golden Gophers football?
Football. Okay, so overall it's 21. You're right on the number. But remember, my first 5 years I did just basketball, and I was doing pre and post for football. Dave Lee, Dave Mona, Daryl did the games.
That's right.
So I'm 21 overall.
They were on CCO then?
Correct, yeah. And then in 2011, Gophers switched over here to KFAN.
Okay.
And then that, because of the situation, I was able to roll into football as well. So what does that make it? 21 So -5 is 16. So it'd be my 16th year calling football.
Sweet.
21 total here.
2019 was fun. Specifically the win at home against Penn State.
Right.
This, this one is sneaky. And, having PJ Fleck 9 to noon Mondays for as long as we have, and, chat, we don't chat a ton of Gophers football, so therefore we don't, we're not completely immersed within the vibe like you are.
Right.
But, we both know where you have to be good to have a chance. So, like, the first blue blood you have on your schedule is Michigan. Is that game here?
Yes.
Okay, you'll be an underdog. Michigan probably is going to be good. It's a blue blood. And at times in the past, like Ohio State maybe last year, those games have gone completely pear-shaped.
Yep.
And it's not to say that, that the Gophers won't lose by 10, 14, 17, or 20. But when you're as deep on the defensive line, when you have experience in the secondary the way they do, when you have a stable of running backs, and PJ's very high on a couple of freshmen, as we just learned, along with Darius Taylor, and when you have a quarterback who will take a leap, the question is how big is the leap? We'll say the leap's big. When you have those components, I mean, the kicker's going to have to come through too.
Yep.
When you have those components, you have a chance to be sneaky good, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the schedule, I don't think it's easy. I mean, you get an 18-team Big Ten where you're barely playing half the teams.
Yep.
There's no division, so that part becomes a little trickier.
Well, you got to start 3-0.
It's totally random, right? Yeah, you got to. And look, Mississippi State coming to town. There's been an SEC team play in Minnesota
17 years
since it's more than that. I think it's like 1969 or something.
Yeah,
they just don't come north.
Time ago,
I mean, SEC teams just don't come north.
Yeah.
On a total side,
they're better than us.
I think they might, and I think they don't want to. They're certainly not going to come north in November. Which is, I'm kind of excited. UCLA's coming to town the first week in November.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think I'm not a big cold weather guy, but I'd love to see it be about 3 degrees and see how those boys from California handle the cold. Right?
Those baby blue uniforms of college football immortality.
It's the best uniform combo there is, and the best stadium. I know it's not theirs, but they play at the Rose Bowl is incredible. From a guy who grew up in Big Ten country to be able to go out there a couple years ago and watch Minnesota beat UCLA in a Max Brosmer late touchdown to Darius Taylor was incredible. Nothing's easy, but you avoid who I think are the top 2 teams, Ohio State and Oregon. So you catch a bit of a break there. I do think it's a trickier schedule. Like 5 years ago, and the schedule was out 5 years ago, you looked at it, Indiana, that's a road win. Not anymore. They're 16-0. I think they're like 33-1 in their last 34 games.
That was PC, pre-Cuban.
Pre-Cuban, exactly. And so it's not the easiest schedule. Michigan, I actually like the way that maybe sets up for the Gophers to be at home and a chance. I know last year a lot was made. They got blown out by Ohio State, got blown out by Oregon. The game at Iowa didn't go their way at all. Didn't go my way at all either in that one. So you got those 3 games. Some of it was, is it a road issue? I don't know. I think it was the 5 best teams you played were the road games.
Yeah.
And so that's hard. Is this the year
didn't
that
they mess up the Northwestern game on the road?
That was at Wrigley Field. Yeah, they missed a kick. The Cal game was tough. But I think at least the Cal game was a 9:00 kick. All this was just it was one of those weird games, and Cal was a bowl team. They weren't great, but they were a bowl team, and Darius Taylor didn't play in that game.
Yeah.
Well, can you simplify it to that? I mean, there are so many factors that go into this, but just whether it was PJ with PA, 25 minutes ago, or just thinking about how important it is to move the rock and the lack of reliability with Darius Taylor playing into some problems. Boy, and I forget where he's gone to now. Purdue, okay. Yeah. Well, he was, whatever they tried to throw in there was not working to replace what they wanted to do. So now we got the kid Drake, who PJ can praise, like the reps that he got can really push him into a nice season this year with the experience. But in the end, we had some guys learning on the fly and really doing some things that flies in the face of how PJ wants to run things.
Yeah, and I think the offense in general is going to not change a lot. I think they like what Drake Lindsey did last year. 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions is a heck of a ratio for a first-year starter in major college football. That said, I've mentioned this a couple of different times when I've talked to people about this upcoming season. I think in today's day and age. And I'm not saying they have to unload that they have to go throw it 50 times a game. And I think if the run game's there, they're absolutely going to utilize it. I heard you on my drive-in talk about they'd like to milk the clock. And maybe there are ways at a place like Minnesota that you can take advantage of some of those things that can give you an advantage against people who just inherently might have an advantage. The Ohio States, the Oregons of the world, the Michigans. Can you somehow equalize a game? And I think over the years, PJ's done a pretty good job of that. I do think, though, that you've got a quarterback that you love. That now all of a sudden is getting some talk about, hey, this kid might be an NFL player. I mean, there's some mock draft that has him in the first round, which would be incredible because it means he had a good year. So 18-6, while it's a great ratio, if you want to really push the envelope and get into, can you get on the cusp of a playoff discussion? That sounds preposterous maybe, but you never know. In the Big Ten now, if you get to 10 wins, you've got a chance to be on the part of that discussion. Can this team get to 10 wins? I don't think it can if Drake Lindsay has 18-6, which is a great ratio.
Right.
Maybe 30-12?
Yeah.
Now you've
27-9.
Something like
kind of
that,
what
right?
hits me.
So, but does that mean you got to throw it 50 times a game? Maybe not. What if Darius Taylor runs for 1,200 yards and catches 45 balls for another 600 because he had 54 catches 2 years ago with Brosmer, out of the backfield.
That's right.
So there's ways you can move the football. But and I'm not suggesting that they're going to run it was a Mouse Davis that used to run the. I don't think that's the answer here. But I do think
the run and shoot.
Yeah, the run and shoot. Yeah. I don't think that's the answer. But I do think there has to be some time where you got to just say in the headphones, let's let this kid win us a game. Mm-hmm. Let's go out and let him rifle us down the field. If we have to throw a bomb, he can throw a great deep ball.
Was that Rutgers last year, maybe, where it was just an absolute shootout, and maybe that was the best game of Drake's season?
They were down 14-0 early, and then a bomb.
He just got loose, and it was a terrific performance by him.
Great play. And there were a couple of games like that. The Nebraska game was tight early. The Gophers couldn't move it, and Darius just took a handoff and went like 80 yards to the 1 yard line, and that changed everything. And then the Gophers had whatever it was, 13 sacks, 9, whatever it was, school record sacks in that game. So there's, and the other thing in regard to that, as this team tries to push past where they've been, they had the 11-win season in 2019. I think PJ's even said this a little bit. I think what if you're going to talk about PJ Fleck and the success he's had here. He's made 8-win seasons, ho-hum. Mm-hmm. 15, 20, 25 years ago, you'd be taking 8 wins.
That's a great point.
Especially if you do it a number of years. You don't have the bottom out.
Yep.
Like Minnesota over the years has had a few dips where, they're 2-10. Now, knock on wood, let's hope that doesn't happen. PJ hasn't had that.
He's won a bunch of games.
And he's won a bunch of games. And now he's been good enough that people are like, when's he going to get more than 8 now or 9? Because it's been 8 and 9 now for a while, and he's won, as you mentioned, he's won all his bowl games here and all that stuff. I'd love to see them, have a breakout. It's going to be a 24-team playoff in a year or two, and at that point, now you've got a real shot. Because to me, and this isn't just a Minnesota issue. This is a Wisconsin issue, an Iowa issue, maybe even a Nebraska issue. Those are the 3 schools I think Minnesota has to compare itself to, what I would call peers. Nebraska has more resources, but Minnesota's had the better end of that rivalry here in recent years. And the other 2 should be right in there. And Minnesota's had the better end of the Wisconsin thing in the recent years. Iowa's had Minnesota's number. Gophers would love to flip that. But I think those are the people you're comparing yourself to. All those people, and I heard you mention, like the Gophers, 18 teams, 2 teams make the Big Ten title game, and it's not divisions anymore; it's the top 2. Yeah. So half the leagues that's trying to play that is done the first week in November or earlier, right? And and now what are you playing for? Well, if you're not in the mix in November, you're playing for things like, can you get to Nashville? Can you get to Orlando? Which is fine. That's what college football is about. But the playoffs have kind of rendered some of that stuff less meaningful, so to speak. Like 5, 6, 8 years ago, the Gophers, in 2019, you go to the Outback Bowl, January 1st game, Tampa, great crowd, 20,000 Gopher fans there.
Johnson,
that was big. Big game, Tyler Johnson had 2 touchdowns, 2 incredible touchdowns in that game.
Against Auburn, right?
Against Auburn. But if now you have a 24-team playoff, the Big Ten title game's off the hook. That's out. They're going to punt that. They won't play it. And now you're going to have more than half the league, because 9 wins in a 24-team playoff is going to get you in the playoffs. 9 wins. Last year, if they had it, at the end of the season, there would have been an 8-4 based on the rankings, the way it ended last year. Iowa was 8-4. They would have made the playoffs. They would have been the only 8-win team to make it. But you're in. So that changes the complexion of everything. Like right now, you got 18 teams. 2 teams make the Big Ten title game. Everybody else is playing for what? Something that a lot of people don't think matters, right? Because you got opt-outs and all this stuff. When they get to the 2014 playoff, it will reinvigorate. It's a little bit more of an NFL model where you got divisions. The Vikings, after their losing streak, they're still going into late in the year, putting on a run that, gosh, if things fall right, we can still back our way into the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. That's not the case right now in the Big Ten. Everyone says the Big Ten's taking an NFL model. It's not an NFL model because half the league's out of it with 6 weeks left or 5 weeks left. 2014 playoff changes everything. I'm in favor of it. I know a lot of people think it's too many. They don't deserve it. I'm like, bring it on, because it's going to create more interest. It just is.
Why did Coy Parrish leave, and did it send ripples through the team?
I think it was less ripples than I thought. I was disappointed. I think Coy was a really good player. Clearly, a lot of people say, and I wouldn't call it sour grapes. And this isn't within the program. I'm talking within the fan base. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a great year and all this stuff. And statistically, he didn't have as good of a year. He didn't have as many interceptions. He had more tackles. I know a lot's been made of the either Pro Football Focus or somebody saying he was, he missed. He had a lot of missed tackles, but he also there's an 18-team league with a lot of players that are NFL caliber players. There were only 17 total players in the Big Ten last year that had more tackles than Coy Parrish. 17 and 18. There's 2,000, almost 2,000 Big Ten football players. 17 had more tackles than Coy. So if he had that many tackles, plus he missed a bunch that people are complaining about, that tells me he's around the ball. Yeah. Every play is around the ball. So he's a good player. They're going to miss him. There's no doubt he was. But at a place like Minnesota, where it's not unlimited. I mean, it's not limited, but it's not unlimited resources. I think PJ's done a good job of going out and beating the bushes and creating some excitement and getting some money in here. I don't think it was totally about money. I think Minnesota could have paid him, but then it becomes an efficiency. Can we take the money that Coy had earmarked, let him walk?
How are we going to pay Drake?
And now can we go get 2 guys? I have no idea if this was the case, but and we don't know how good Bush will be at one of the defensive end spots, but he didn't come cheap, right?
Right.
There were people that were going to throw him money. So would he be here if Coy was here? I don't know the answer. I would love to have Coy here because I think he's a difference-making player that can make winning plays. He's not. I think part of the reason is that, let's face it, Oregon's going to be ranked 1, 2, or 3 in the country in every preseason poll. And that young man just may wanted to say, that's my easiest path to get into the playoffs. Let's go. And I've got an opportunity there.
So lastly, you said something earlier about the 3 teams, truly with whom the Gophers would be competing with NIL, transfer portal. Nebraska, who else?
Iowa, Wisconsin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's say Nebraska. Now I know this is a blue blood. Okay, back to the Tommy Frazier Osborne days. So, but it hasn't performed or won to that level in quite some time. Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, think of the Miami Hurricanes back with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Willis McGahee and all those players.
Well, it was pretty crazy since it became a 14 playoff in 2014, and now it's, what is it? I don't even know, 12 or what? Yeah, 12.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten, Nebraska has won the second fewest games.
Okay, so that's perfect.
Games.
Okay, so you said, like from a storing chip standpoint, an asset standpoint, what you can garner, what you can accrue with name, image, likeness, and pay players. Well, why are they? Why do they have more than us? Like why does Lincoln, Nebraska? Why is it on a different level compared to Minneapolis, St. Paul?
Yeah, that is we could do an entire hour on that because there's a lot of varying opinions. I think sometimes the college town where you're the only show in town, like Omaha is a big city.
That's a good point.
Like Omaha's a big city with lots of insurance companies and lots of corporations, and where they spend
the
answer.
Money.
Like here,
the
Vikings get a lot of that money.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
What about Madison? In a state with the Brewers and the Bucks and the Packers.
And I think there's some uniqueness to Madison because it's far enough removed from Milwaukee that it still kind of stands alone. And Madison is also not a small town. I think people think Madison sometimes has 2 stoplights. That's 500,000-600,000 people when you count the full 2-county, 3-county area around here. It's not, and there's AmFam's based right there. There's some others that have been good, and it's a good school. Mm-hmm. And it started. Alvarez turned it around, and once it got going, that was a place people wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so I think there's that competition. Nebraska has lots of money. I think what Nebraska has done recently, and I'll be interested to see what Matt Rule does the rest of the way and how he tries to, build the program. I think PJ has a plan of how he wants to construct a roster with the limitations. I think this is my opinion from afar. Someone from Nebraska, if they want to quibble with this, I'm not going to fight them because they know it more intimately than I do. But just from afar, it appears to me that they went to just go get. We're just going to go find a bunch of athletes, a bunch of good players that don't want to be at their school. I won't go as far as say like a bunch of mercenaries to come in and just play.
Yeah.
But I think there's some of that.
And the JUCO route.
And sometimes that. Yeah. And so then the question becomes, because my opinion is when you assemble a team that way, when the going gets tough, it's easy to jump off the train. And then that creates some issues, and I think Nebraska's maybe had a little of that.
Yeah.
I think Indiana basketball had a little of that in recent years, where they just went and got a whole bunch of really good players, paid lots of money for it, but those dudes have their money now.
Yeah.
So if you're
like Kentucky
basketball, you go pear-shaped, as you like to say, middle of the year. That's why I got mine. I thought exactly, and I thought that's what Nico did so impressively last year. That everything went. They had 6 guys, healthy guys, and nobody quit. Nobody said, "I got my money, I'm done."
Great point.
And so, how you construct a roster? Kansas basketball had one of the highest payrolls last year. Kansas barely sneaks into the NCAA tournament.
Kentucky had the highest in the country.
Kentucky had the highest in the country. Michigan was amongst the highest, and they won it.
Yeah.
And everyone said, "Well, no wonder they won it. They had all the money." Mm-hmm. Well, Kentucky paid a lot of money. Kansas paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
They didn't have the same success. So I think you got to tip your cap. Sometimes roster construction and who you bring in and is it a fit, all of that stuff matters. And I'd be interested to see, with all the resources Nebraska has and that long consecutive sellout streak. Mm-hmm. People always ask me, what game, if you're a Gopher fan, you want to go on the road, what game would you recommend we go to? Now, it won't happen this year because they're not on the schedule.
Yeah.
I would say Nebraska's
I'd
the
say
place.
Pullman this year.
Yeah. Seattle. Yeah, Washington.
Oh, Seattle. Where do the Huskies play?
Seattle.
Okay, but aren't they in Pullman?
No, that's Washington State.
Washington State,
yes,
got
sir.
it.
So Seattle, that's a great game. This year, that's the place to go.
Well, that's a sweet game.
Husky Stadium's one of the loudest, hard place to play. You can take a boat to the game.
Oh, wow.
Sailgating, they call it.
Through the Puget Sound?
Yeah, I don't know what sound it's through, but it's through something. And they have I went to a game on a boat there a couple years ago during a bye week, Oregon, Washington. And you take this boat, you dock, and you're 10 steps from the stadium.
That's outstanding.
So I would recommend Gopher fans take that one. But anyway, yes.
Look forward to chats in the future.
Yeah.
Probably the next one will be maybe at the State Fair.
Let's do it. Yes.
But thank you very much for the time.
Always great to see you guys.
Grimmer, Mike Grimm, the radio play-by-play voice for Golden Gophers football. A day it is Golden Gophers football media day. So 9 to noon is in Minneapolis at the Gibson Nagurski complex right off Southeast 15th. And so far we've had quarterback Drake Lindsay join. Likewise for head coach PJ Fleck. That'll all be podcastable following the radio show at KFAN.com. Second half of the presentation is around the corner. This is 9 to noon.
The Cash Thing, the fan at BigDeck.com. Want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest at KFAN.com. The keyword is check. The keyword check. KFAN.com. Keyword check.
It's PA.
Man, it's hard to describe someone like him because he's perpetually happy. He has a story for every occasion. He's always got.
Your chance to score Mall of America Summary Mystery Prizes, it's back. Grab one at any of our KFAN events or anytime you see the KFAN street team out and about this summer. Then redeem it at Mall of America for discounts and exciting prizes. Check out upcoming events, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Was there anything descript or anything distinct about LaMelo Ball's introductory press conference?
Yeah, we kind of joked about it a bit. He's not giving you paragraphs, man. I mean, it's just, for instance,
I've never heard him I've heard him after games, like they win a dramatic game, and he'll be interviewed for 45 seconds by like the Leah B. Olson or Shannon Spake, who was on 9 to Noon while you were gone. Somebody I got to know last year.
TV for Charlotte?
Yes, she's the sideline reporter for the Charlotte Hornets. So like Shannon would interview LaMelo a few times. I've seen those, but I haven't seen like a press conference or anything. What was he like?
Yeah, well, all smiles, right? Like, he's excited to be here. Everyone had waited, 2 weeks before they could stop pretending that this wasn't a thing that had happened.
Yeah.
And, again, light on context. I was joking about it. Krasinski asked him, it was like a 20-second question, 20-second long question, and his response was, when it goes the right way, it's great. When it goes the wrong way, it's bad.
Right. That's it.
And I was joking as well, kind of the idea you get to meet Josh Green. What is Josh Green's role on this team? And I feel like with Josh, during that presser, you were listening, and it was like, is somebody going to ask him a question just so that he feels like he's part of the
Oh, Josh was up there too?
Josh was up there too, yeah. So some thoughtful stuff from both Connolly and Finch. And it kind of goes back to the way we were talking about it when this first happened, wrapping our head around the fact that, it's going to be high volume from him and Anthony. And there are going to be certain nights where you've never seen something like what those two are going to give you. But then there's going to be other times where you're going to have to deal with bad shots. You're going to have to deal with young cats making decisions that maybe go the wrong way. But I thought into it and out of it, I thought Connolly and everybody involved really kind of faced the injury conversation. There were several questions about his health, or really, for the large part, the lack thereof. And just, I thought Connolly was mostly forefront and honest about it. We're not sitting here with a 10-step plan on a piece of paper that I'm going to unveil for you today, but that is something we are very aware of, and certainly it would be an topic for us to establish some program or pathway towards creating consistent opportunities for LaMelo to take the court. And I would say, at least, whether it's a facade or it's genuine, that did not seem to be on their list of concerns in terms of LaMelo entering the mix. But nothing jumping out again, and not to discredit or diminish Josh Green, but it kind of felt like it was all LaMelo. And then in terms of Josh Green, it was kind of like, well, that's an expiring contract that we can use to go acquire something else.
Right.
And so that's kind of, in the end, what I took from the presser. And moving forward now, we're kind of all on the wait. I'm not sitting here with bated breath for LeBron. I'm sitting here thinking, is this finished now? Is this something that Finch is going to get an opportunity to tweak and work with and evolve over the early stages of the season? Or potentially, is there some other trick up the sleeve of Tim Connolly to improve this thing before opening night?
If you're LeBron James and you want to win a championship right at the end of your career, without hand-picking teams, but you mentioned Miami earlier, and didn't LeBron or somebody reported that that there are like preferred 3 teams: Miami, Golden State, somebody else.
Yeah, there was
even it a Shams bit.
I think it may have been Shams. Brett was giving this to me a day or two ago that
we weren't on it.
There was an updated list, and our favorite Timberwolves were not on the list.
Yeah. Well,
but Golden State, Cleveland, Philly, Miami.
Cleveland, that's what it was. Well, I mean, I would want to be in the Eastern Conference.
Yes.
This is, I don't know, it's probably not the freshest take in the world, but I haven't been around for nearly a couple of weeks. I would want to be in the Eastern Conference.
Yep.
I think that's an easier path to the end. Well, it absolutely is. I mean, Oklahoma City and San Antonio are just getting better. Timberwolves, have caused problems for teams the last X amount of years. Joker still is upright. Now, but like Golden State, would that just be like satisfying a personal satisfaction where I've always wanted to play with Steph?
Yeah.
They still have Jimmy Butler too, right?
Jimmy got hurt, but Jimmy's on the payroll.
They still got Jimmy.
Okay.
And Draymond is not on the team, but Draymond will come back, at probably a veteran minimum. So, I mean, that's a little bit of a squad there. If you get Jimmy Butler healthy.
That's a retirement league squad.
I understand, but if you have Curry, LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green healthy in the playoffs, that's a...
Yeah, that's the load management team.
That's a difficult team to beat until you got to play defense against all these kids for San Antonio and OKC, and then you have no shot. But, I mean, that thing can come to fruition at any time now with LeBron James.
Yeah.
Not that the expectation was that but I've just seen so much, kind of painting him as an idiot if he doesn't come here because this is absolutely the best fit. Is what people say. I'm not sure it is.
Yeah, I
think it's a good fit, but, I'm...
Is he handling the ball the whole time? Or a fair amount of time?
No, here?
Yeah.
Not with ball. No. Not that you now have LaMelo Ball. But, the with LaMelo, and you've heard me say this 2 times, it's the most fascinating angle for me with LaMelo Ball being here is you have a line of delineation. You have those with the Timberwolves that I know for a fact, probably off the record, but I didn't see the press conference, who are like, we're getting him at the perfect time of his career. On the other side, you have to have somebody saying, cool, if you think you're going to get 72 games out of him, I have beachfront property for you outside of Henderson, Nevada, because that just ain't going to happen. So there is a clear line of delineation and a culture shift that's taking place with the Charlotte Hornets. They've made a couple of aggressive decisions in trading Ball and trading Miles Bridges, 2 of their better players, and building around Con Knippel and Brandon Miller. Here, they were point guard needy and didn't come from a great leverage position, but they got somebody who can wow the crowd. There's no doubt about it. But for me, my expectations for Anthony Edwards are so high. And, I've said it after the NBA Finals the last couple of years where see how Jalen handled everything, see how Shea handled everything. Our superstar has to handle things like that.
Yep. He has to grow up.
Yeah,
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Continue to grow and mature.
That's why having LeBron here is just the bomb.
Yeah, it is.
For Edwards and Ball, it would be unbelievable. McDaniels, too. Let's break. You're listening to 9 to Noon from Minneapolis. Golden Gophers wide receiver Jalen Smith joins at about 11 o'clock. And pass rusher, defensive lineman, sack specialist Anthony Smith at about 11:30 from Gophers Media Day on KFAN.
It's PA.
I am very proud of...
Here is Jalen Smith, wide receiver for PJ Fleck's Golden Gophers football team. And it's very nice of him to join us on Golden Gophers Media Day, a Mankato West product, a redshirt sophomore, and heading into a year that, we chatted with your coach a little earlier, and, to get PJ to go deep about some of these transfer wide receivers. You could tell he's high on a couple of them for sure. Naquan Crowder, the defensive tackle, just came through here. So you can tell that PJ, who keeps things close to the vest, that he's high on some things with your team this year, including you. You guys could be sitting on a nice season this year if you get the right things to go the right way, right?
Yeah. I think it's just about being process-oriented and really focusing on what we have to do every day to get better to get to that point. Mm-hmm. Obviously, everybody has like an end result that you want. Everybody wants to make the playoff. Everybody wants to be a championship team. But with this group of guys, just putting in the work every single day, day in, day out, and just getting better.
Growing up in Minnesota, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, those 2 of your favorite receivers to watch, or do you have any receivers where when you break down they're all 22, that really are eye-opening to you?
Yeah, it's crazy that you say those 2 names. I had the opportunity to work out with both of them, and it was a crazy experience. When I was in high school, I was watching Jordan Addison highlights when he was at Pitt, when he was at USC.
Wow.
He won the Biletnikoff, so he's one of the best in the country. I was watching his film. Justin Jefferson, everybody watched him when he was at LSU.
Right.
Now that he's with the Vikings, two super talented players. Get an opportunity to watch them in person and put into perspective, like, these guys are the best at what they do. You know, there's nobody better than these guys at this profession. So it was very inspiring, but also just a surreal moment, you know, seeing those two in person, being able to conversate with them, learn things from them. So it was a good experience.
Have you met them?
Yeah. Worked out with them, ran routes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. It was a cool experience for sure. Yeah.
Oh, so you are 13, 14, 15 years old, maybe 12, 13. And you're telling me that you're watching Justin with Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall and that nice Joe Burrow, that nice group at LSU.
Yeah, for sure. That offense, first of all, was crazy. I mean, still to this day, one of the best offenses in college football history. So watching all those guys, that whole receiver core was super talented. Not just him, but like you said, Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall. Like, they had a ton of guys in that room that were just dogs, you know, NFL caliber players. So always watching.
It's so interesting to have a conversation like this because I think Terrace Marshall Jr., who ended up with Carolina, I think he was the most highly recruited of those three.
Yeah.
Well, Jamar Chase might be the best overall receiver in the NFL. Justin's right there with him. Terrace Marshall Jr., it just hasn't worked out for whatever the reason. But, you know, this is something like players like you're going to have to deal with, I don't even know what it's called, the rankings or Our Lads or whatever when you come into college. Well, they got you slotted somewhere. But then you start playing the games, and you can change the whole narrative, right?
Exactly. My mentality has never been focused on rankings. I come from southern Minnesota. Like, I was never expecting to be a 4 or 5 star huge recruit. For me, it was just about getting the opportunity because when you get here, you're all in the same playing field. You're all getting the same coaching, the same training. So for me, it was just more about getting into the door, getting the opportunity to be at this level. And then just show what I can do from here, work as hard as I can, and learn as much as I can from my coaches.
Good for you, man.
So you're watching these guys that are in spots where you eventually want to be, whether that's college and then in the NFL. At what stage during your time with the Scarlets were you like, you started to feel like I can get to the D1 level, that I am talented enough, and you're starting to maybe get some hints that the next level is an option for you?
Yeah, if I'm being real, my sophomore year, I thought I knew I could do it. I didn't play varsity yet at that point. I was still on JV as a sophomore, but I was just so confident in my ability.
Well, how good was the varsity?
We had a good team that year, yeah, undefeated. They won the state championship that year, so that was a good team for sure. We also had another Division I receiver that played, Mekhi Collins, at that time.
Yeah.
He was a senior when I was a sophomore, but I was just always super confident in myself and knew that I would get some opportunity that would allow me to showcase what I can do.
When it comes to mastering depth of route, that's always so fascinating to me. Like doing some work with the Vikings as I have for several years. Cordero Patterson's probably the greatest kick returner in history of the NFL. You could put him in the backfield. You know, you could line him up all over the place. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
But, if you would get the behind-the-scenes knocks on him, depth of route was a problem. We need, we needed 14 Cordero, and he would go 12, or he would go 16, and that could lead to 6 the other way, as you know. So, mastering that full speed and being full speed top of the route at the right depth.
Yeah.
What are the keys? Just seems hard.
A lot of time in the off season.
Yeah.
Everything that we're doing right now is building that, because that stuff that you just mentioned is super important, and that's very important for the quarterback as well, because at the end of the day, everything runs through him. So if you're not at the right spot at the right time, then it doesn't matter how fast you are, how good you are.
Because you can't look down at your feet or the yards.
No.
Right. I mean, it's an art.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a difference between just kind of knowing your body, your stride length, how many steps it takes you to get to certain depth. And like I said, all that stuff just comes from the off season, the summer, the winter, putting in work with the quarterbacks. So.
And the timing part of that matters too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We got the chance to chat with Drake, and a big part of his game, as you was mentioned, is he's at his best when everything's on time, and that certainly would include you.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it easy for him when his wideouts are in the right spots and he's able just to throw the ball where he needs to, and it makes it easier on us too, because then the catch becomes easier. So yeah,
I would imagine your goal is to play all of your years here.
Yeah.
But I mean, with NIL and the transfer portal, it's no hard feelings if something doesn't work out, right? But I mean, that is your goal, to stay here, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it's important that
especially with this quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. I have an opportunity to build something really special with Drake. I had the opportunity to play with him, obviously, in the 25 season, but that is not the standard that we want here in Minnesota. So obviously, just having the opportunity to do something really special with him here is something I'm looking forward to. I'm excited for.
With you and with the opportunity now, whether it's Noah Jennings, Zion Steptoe, there's some new faces in the mix. I'm looking at you right now with your jersey. It's got the C on it. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you? You think about it, just your second season in maroon and gold, but you have the chance to be a leader and truly help foster some of the things that you've been talking about, mastering your craft as these new guys come in and try to master theirs.
Yeah, it means a lot to me personally because just my story of how I came here from Mankato and everything like that, it means a lot to me, but it's more so, it means a lot to be able to help out my team. And you mentioned guys like Z and Noah, like those are playmakers that are going to do a lot of good things for us this year. And so me being in the position where I can help them out and put them in a position to succeed, like that's something I'm looking forward to. And sharing a lot of good moments with them when they score touchdowns like that, I get happiness from that as well, not just a C on the jersey. It's more than that. So PJ likes to run. Now that's come back a little bit since he's had Drake. I mean, you guys had time of possession, I think, was like 29 minutes a game last year, which is probably 4, 5, or 6 a game less than what we've known PJ to have, who's quite good at winning a game the way he has to win the game with what he has. Yeah.
So I respect that about him. From your standpoint, we talked about depth of route and learning the plays, and then the new plays that are going to look like last year, but this is going to be something different, which is fascinating. What about the run blocking side of it? What about mixing it up with defensive players?
Yeah.
When you know it's going to be a screen or whatever, and you could be the key to springing somebody.
Yeah, it's super. The blocking aspect is super important because you can't pass the ball if you can't run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not run blocking for your running back, if you're not making that block on that screen pass, and you're not going to get that ball thrown to you on the go ball. So all of this stuff works together. The same way that, as a wideout, you look at winning a route is super important in one-on-one coverage. The mentality has to be this block right here that I have is super important to the success of our offense.
So what you mentioned that, you've watched some Justin Jefferson plays before.
Yeah.
From like recently with the Vikings, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, when I say the coverage that he gets is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, it's take the cheese with the triple team that looks like a double, starts off looking like a single.
Yeah.
Can you to get that, you got to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And now hopefully he has some things around him to pull it off. But nevertheless, when you get coverage like that, or say double teamed, or say it's some kind of a zone where they're just not going to let you get loose, how frustrating does that get? Like, how patient do you have to stay?
You got to stay very patient because you got to look at it from just a perspective of the offense as a whole. When you're getting in those situations where a defender, whoever it is, they're trying to take out of the game, that's just freeing up other people.
Mm-hmm.
If there's 2 DBs that are trying to take away one receiver, well, then now there's another receiver on the other side of the ball that has one-on-one coverage. So it just makes things easier on the other guys on the field if somebody is getting in that position.
As a receiver, is there anything better? Okay, so we got winning games.
Mm-hmm.
Winning conference, winning national championship. Put those aside for a second. When you watch film and you're on the right hash mark, the correct hash mark you need to be on, you got the right guy opposite you, and it's going to be single coverage, and they call a double move for you, and the corner has struggled all year against double moves, and you put the right double move on him, and you get clear, and the quarterback sees you. Honestly, is there anything better?
Not really. I mean, I think just any situation where you have one-on-one coverage and you have the opportunity to go, make a game-changing play. Any football player gets excited for that. That's something that you dream about. So being in those positions is always a fun thing.
Who are some people who have been key to get you here? Like keeping you, when I say straight and narrow, don't take it the wrong way, but just like, keeping you focused, and because distractions can be the ultimate equalizer, man. I'm sure as you probably figured out by now.
Yeah.
But who are some people who have really helped you?
I want to. Coach Frichty is unbelievable.
Wow.
I know. Not
Isaac.
Not a lot of people have the opportunity to meet him or really know who he is, but he's a phenomenal coach. Like, his ability to demand and teach you how to do something is unlike I've seen. So not only me, but it's made a difference in the transfers, the other guys in the room. Like, that guy is he's special. Like, he's a
calm
coach. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Calm, knows when to get on you. you, but at the end of the day, from him, it's all out of love. So, yeah.
A couple to close here for Gophers wide receiver Jalen Smith.
Yeah, it kind of speaks to the continuity of this program. Isaac Frichte, of course, tremendous success. Southern Minnesota kid, by the way. I mean, I know where Mankato is. Caledonia was a little tougher to find on the map. but it kind of speaks to what P.J. Fleck, and you work so much on the offensive side with Harbaugh, Frichte, Mo Ibrahim, of course, all the yards that he racked up for this program, him coming back and wanting to contribute. I think that just kind of speaks to what P.J. has built over the course of a near decade now.
Yeah, and I think it also just shows that it doesn't matter where you're from. You know, you can coach or play at any level if you have that ability. And it's super cool to see guys like Mo come back and coach, because I was watching him on TV, and when I would come on a visit or come watch a game, I'm watching Mo, and now he's a coach that I get to talk to every day. So that's some cool stuff right there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, with Tyler Johnson, who's still in the league, had that big ball game against Auburn, Bateman. I mean, PJ's had some good receivers here, hasn't he?
Yeah. Those guys are you know, they're in our receiver room every day. Those guys, Rashad, Tyler, like those guys are hung up in our receiver room because they're the example of what wide receiver is supposed to look like here at the University of Minnesota. And I think, you know, every guy in the room this year, and I think just in years I've been here, is chasing an opportunity to be talked about in those regards. So those two guys are definitely legendary to this program. Yeah.
Lastly, when school begins, or maybe it has already, the balance between the scholastic nature of it, but also being a scholar of the game, a scholar of football, because that, hopefully is your career for a long time. How do you balance that?
I remember when I first got here, the word that Fleck used was compartmentalizing your life. So just being able to, when you're doing football, and you're laser focused on that. And then when you're doing school, you're doing school. And as a student athlete, when you're in high school and you make that decision to play college football, that's a commitment that you're making. You know, that I'm going to dedicate these 4 years to not only football, but also the academics. So just focusing on what you're doing in that moment when you're doing it.
I appreciate meeting you, man.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Yep. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
God bless you, my friend.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Jalen Smith, wide receiver for the Golden Gophers football program on a media day. Our final guest is within the next 30 minutes. It is Anthony Smith, 12.5 sacks last year. But more outside of that topic when we return to KFAN.
It's PA.
Two people been washed in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.